Hi dear fans, friends and subscribers, welcome to the cricket show with your host Ram, the Cricket Happening Show. Well, one thing that I would like to begin with, well, what an end to the Lord's Test match here in the first Test match of the Investec Test series between England and Sri Lanka. Yesterday I was telling you that I don't see Alistair Cook actually going on and batting, and that was precisely the case. Alistair Cook declaring the innings close and setting up a target, setting a target of 390 to win for Sri Lanka. Well, the match really went on to some great climax, and finally England were very near winning. In fact, it's so near yet so far. That was the situation for England, and finally this is what happened, and how that was for England. They were very near but yet so far. The last over of the day was going to be bowled. Sri Lanka were really struggling. They lost wickets. Initially they had a very good partnership. They lost the opening wicket of Karunaratne, but Kaushal Silva went on to make his second back-to-back 50s in this particular Test match, and Kumar Sangakkara, continuing his wonderful form, also played very well and was really playing according to the demands of the game. But then, who would have expected that the 90th over was being bowled, the final over of the final Test on the final day, the 20 mandatory overs. So this was the last over of the Test match. Stuart Broad was the bowler. The Sri Lankan score was reading 201 for 8. Chaminda Iranga was not out on, he was yet to score after facing 5 balls, and at the other end it was Rangana Herath on 1 not out, and tremendous pressure for Sri Lanka. Well, they just have to actually guard their wickets, but for England, well, they have to take 2 wickets, and it was quite a possibility. The reason being, there were 2 tailenders at the crease, Rangana Herath and Chaminda Iranga. So let's look at the last over, because this was the last over, was the one which really, it was a real climax, I would say. Now, the first delivery, Stuart Broad went in and bowled to Rangana Herath, and Rangana Herath gets a bouncer, and but it seems that Herath, that there is an appeal, because Herath has probably got a glove onto it. Pryor is actually taking a tumbling catch. Now Paul Rifle, the umpire, is raising his finger. Now Herath is walking. Herath is not waiting for anything. He's just walking. People are in the commentators box were telling probably whether it really, one thing that Angelo Matthews definitely said is that he was a bit surprised when Rangana Herath walked, because normally the ball, once it hits the hand and the bat, you're not out. First it has to hit the bat, and then if it's in the hand and then you're caught, it's okay. But first it actually hit the glove and then it hit the bat. Now whether that was really something which happened, one does not know. But Rangana Herath was walking, and there was a real tension for Sri Lanka as Rangana Herath was gone. Caught Pryor, bowled Broad for 1, and there were 5 deliveries still to go, and the person who was walking in would be really, I'm sure, he would have been under so much immense pressure, was the number 11 batsman Nuwan Pradeep was slowly walking in, and Stuart Broad was readying himself to bowl. The second delivery that Stuart Broad bowled to Pradeep, there was no run. Actually, it was a short delivery from Pradeep, and Pradeep, I would say, just managed to avoid the delivery as the wicketkeeper Pryor took the ball behind the stump. So a lot of pressure for Sri Lanka. They have to survive the 4 deliveries, but for England, they have to just a solitary wicket, and England are taking a 1-0 lead in the Investec Test series. Let's see what happens. The third delivery, Stuart Broad bowls, and this is a ball which actually rose from Stuart Broad, pitched, and it came up, in the sense, in fact, Pradeep was trying to actually steer the delivery, but finally, well, he again fails to make contact, and Pryor behind the stumps took the ball. Now 3 more balls to go. England still have a chance to win if they can take a wicket in the 3 balls which are coming up. Let's see what happens with the 4th delivery. In comes Stuart Broad, running up, bowls. This is a pitched up around the off stump line, and well, this time Pradeep gets a connection onto the bat. Actually, he has just played it down to the point region, and well, the batsman will stay where he is. But well, doesn't matter, as long as Pradeep can block the deliveries, everything would be going in Sri Lanka's favour. Now Pradeep has already done a good job here. 2 more balls to survive, and Stuart Broad is bustling in to bowl. Nuwan Pradeep is settling down. In comes Stuart Broad. Bowls to Nuwan Pradeep. There is a loud appeal now. The ball is actually inside it onto his front pad. Now this is going to be very, very interesting. There's a loud appeal. The English fielders are really, really ecstatic. They feel they have won the match. But Pradeep is not walking. Oh, that's great presence of mind by Pradeep. Nuwan Pradeep is telling that I'm going to review this. He has gone for the review. Now this is going to be interesting. What is going to happen? England feel that they have won the match, and Nuwan Pradeep, who has been hit on the pad, he has shown absolute presence of mind, and he has actually gone for a review. Let's see what happens. It's so interesting here. Let's see what happens. Paul Rifle. Let's see. We are just waiting for the 3rd umpire to confirm it. Whether he is out, one does not know. Well, there comes the verdict. My goodness, Nuwan Pradeep has survived, and English players can't believe it. Nuwan Pradeep has survived. Well, Nuwan Pradeep, can he survive one more delivery from Stuart Broad? And my word, what a match we are having here. 1 ball, 1 wicket for England, and for Sri Lanka, they just need to block this ball. Nuwan Pradeep has to block the last delivery of the first test match. Can he do it? That is going to be the question, because right now there's a loud appeal, and I'm going to have to really admire Nuwan Pradeep at this point of time. With all the players really shouting, there's so much of pressure on you. It's very difficult to have so much of presence of mind and say that I need to review this. That's tremendous. Well, let's see what happens. Stuart Broad. Now this is going to be very interesting. There's a lot of field changes being made with Alistair Cook, the slipper. There is the field is coming in. There's a lot of pressure on Nuwan Pradeep. Stuart Broad is bustling into bowl. Now this is going to be very interesting. What is going to happen here? In comes Stuart Broad. Slowly gets on to the bowling crease. He passes umpire, bowls to Nuwan Pradeep, and Nuwan Pradeep has saved the match. There is no run, he has edged it, but well, this has gone on the bounce to the 2nd slip to Jordan, but on the 1st bounce, but nothing to worry for Nuwan Pradeep. Nuwan Pradeep is the hero. He has seen off Stuart Broad. He has seen off the final over from Stuart Broad. And my word, what a match we have had. England thought they had the match in the penultimate delivery of the 1st test match. And here Nuwan Pradeep has blocked the ball. Nuwan Pradeep showing a tremendous presence of mind in the penultimate ball to review that decision. I think a lot of players would have been under immense pressure because of the lot of pressure, because one does not, it's very difficult to think under a lot of pressure. So I thought Nuwan Pradeep has really shown great presence of mind here to review that decision. And finally Sri Lanka will celebrate, no doubt about it. Pradeep and Iranga are absolutely ecstatic. They have taken Sri Lanka to a what a draw. I mean, drawing the match on the last ball. What a match we have had here at the Lord's Cricket Ground, and that too something which is played at the Mecca of English cricket, the Lord's Cricket Ground. This test match has been truly stupendous. We had double century from Joe Root. We had Kumar Sangakkara scoring his maiden century. I mean, he has never scored a century in Lord's. That was the first ever century scored by a stalwart like Kumar Sangakkara. Gary Ballance getting his maiden century at the Lord's Cricket Ground. And here we have real drama here at the Lord's Cricket Ground, where the match went all the way down to the wire, and the final ball was warded off by Nuwan Pradeep. Even though it was perilously close to the slips, it went first bounce on to Jordan, and Sri Lanka have saved the match. So that was what was the story about. Sri Lanka have saved the match, and Sri Lanka finished at 201 for 9 of the 90 overs. What a match we had here at the Lord's Cricket Ground. This is something. Who says Test cricket is dying? Come on, come on, come on, get up and just watch it. Test cricket is not dying. Test cricket is a classic art of classic art, and well, I mean, I would say one can never say Test cricket is dying. According to me, I think certain statements like that seem pretty insane to me. And cricket is never dying. Test cricket will never die. It's a classical form of the game, and that was what was evident for everyone to see here at the Lord's Cricket Ground and enjoy every moment of it, especially the last over where England could have definitely won the match. And so that's the reason I said so near yet so far. So okay, now the excitement is all over. Let me just recap what happened here. For Sri Lanka, Alistair Cook declared the innings closed on the overnight score, as was expected after Gary Ballance went on to make his maiden century yesterday in the evening with a 6. And Sri Lanka, Karunaratne was the first to go today. He edged the ball from Stuart Broad on to Robson. He was gone for 16. After that, Kaushal Silva, as I said, went on to make his second consecutive 50. He made a 50 in the first innings. He made a 50 in the second innings. He made 57 with 7 boundaries. Kumar Sangakkara continuing his wonderful form, contributing 61 with 4 boundaries. And that was the time when Sri Lanka were really doing it pretty well. They were pretty sedate. And they were not taking any risks. They were, Kumar Sangakkara was just putting his head down and playing. If you look at that knock of Kumar Sangakkara, for probably 100 deliveries, he went out without a boundary. And Kaushal Silva was also absolutely compact. And at that time, nobody would have even thought that the match would go down to the wire. Probably one would have thought that the match would just peter out into a draw. 123 for 2, Mahela Jayawardene, and after that suddenly things started happening. This was the time once Kaushal Silva departed after the bowling of Jordan. Anderson came in and started showing some superb reverse swing bowling. First he castled Sangakkara for 61, then he had Jayawardene caught behind for 18 with 3 boundaries. Then it was the turn of Laido Thirumanne, who is the bunny boy of James Anderson, and he continues to mesmerize Thirumanne, I would say, Anderson. Every time Thirumanne comes to the crease, I'm sure he's having a lot of goosebumps there, because Anderson every time gets his wicket. So he was gone for 2, and then so that reduced the score to 170 for 5, and there was immense pressure on the Sri Lankans. After that, Prasanna Jayawardene was gone, as was LBW bowled Jordan for 8, and Kulashekara was trapped LBW by Broad for 1. And that was the time the drama started, because that was the time England realized that they are into the match, because 199 for 7, 83, another 7 overs to go. England would have definitely fancied themselves. Well, they definitely did their bit, and things were really going according to plans. But as Angelo Matthews, in fact, I forgot to tell you that James Anderson took those vital wickets. He picked up the wicket of Sangakkara, Jayawardene, Thirumanne, and Matthews in that particular spell, and look what damage he created. He reduced them from 123 for 2 to 100 I think it was 194 for 6, and then he came back and picked up Angelo Matthews' wicket. Now Angelo Matthews' wicket going, that was in the 87th over, and probably one would have thought that it would have been curtains for Sri Lanka. But as I said, the match was pretty exciting. It went all the way down to the wire, which I've already, I've already taken you down to the excitement, dear fans and subscribers. And finally, Sri Lanka saving the match on the last ball of this first Test match at the Lord's Cricket Ground, and the match ended into a draw. So the series is still, the 2-match series is 0-0. Well, England would have, as I said, England were absolutely close, but yet so far here. Now let's have a look at the bowling. Anderson was the man who really made it possible for England to really smell victory. Anderson, 19 overs, 10 maidens, 25 runs and 4 wickets, bowling some superb reverse swing bowling. Broad, 21 overs, 9 maidens, 3 for 43, complimenting him admirably. Chris Jordan, 18 overs, 10 maidens, 34 runs, and chipping in 2 wickets. Liam Plunkett, 16 overs, 5 maidens, none for 39. Moeen Ali bowling 12 overs, 2 maidens, none for 35. Root, 4 overs, 3 maidens, none for 7. Now one thing, as I would say, probably one would have thought that in the final day the spinners would be the, yesterday I was talking to you that saying that they don't have Monty Panesar, they don't have any frontline spinner, but that didn't really matter because of James Anderson showing some superb skills with his reverse swing. But what a shame in the sense, England would be pretty ruining. I think one does not know whether the declaration could have come earlier. Well, that is ifs and buts are always there. But what a match we had here. I mean, as I said, Test cricket can never die, according to me. Such excitement. Well, you probably this is something you can't even see in a one-day international. Test cricket is a classic form of the game, and I am sure it is going to survive. And and these are the things. These are the matches which are going to pull the crowds into the stadium, and that's what we want. This is what Test cricket is all about. Well, let me just stop here, and then go off to another match here. Another match that was played. Today was the start of the first day of the second Test match between New Zealand and West Indies. New Zealand have already taken a 1-0 lead in this particular Test series, and today the match was played at Trinidad in Port of Spain, and New Zealand were the ones who actually won the toss, and they elected to bat first. For West Indies, they had a batsman, Jermaine Blackwood, actually making his Test debut today. Now, New Zealand, I don't have much time because of all the talk that I had, so I'm just going to skim through this surface here. New Zealand, well, they were looking pretty good initially. If you look at it, they didn't start off very well. In fact, the bowling was very good. In fact, James Taylor and Kemar Roach were bowling in the right areas. In fact, James Taylor was getting the ball to swing. Roach was bowling with lots of pace. Shannon Gabriel was drafted in today at the last moment because of Shane Shillingford not being available due to injury, and Shannon Gabriel also did his bit. But if you look at it, in fact, they didn't have a good start. Hamish Rutherford came in the place. Hamish Rutherford and Latham were very watchful during the initial stages because the bowling was all in the right direction. But then Hamish Rutherford finally, I would say, sort of a frustration built into him that he was not able to score because he's predominantly a batsman who actually likes to play his strokes. So Hamish Rutherford was the first wicket to go as Taylor actually lured him into a drive, in fact lured him into an edge, and Gale at the slips actually took the catch. So he was gone for 3. But after that, there was a wonderful partnership that happened between Tom Latham and Kane Williamson. They put on 104 runs for the second wicket. They were pretty watchful. They just took their time at the crease. But once they settled in, we saw some good strokes being played, especially Tom Latham. His driving was wonderful to see. Kane Williamson, well, he also did his bit. As you know, he's a very classical player, and both of them started doing a good job, and things were going pretty well for New Zealand at that particular stage with the score on 120, and that was time Gabriel actually picked up the wicket of Williamson for 42 with 5 boundaries. After that, from that time on, there was a sudden burst of excitement as Jerome Taylor started picking up wickets pretty quickly. In fact, Tom Latham was the first to go. Tom Latham, as I said, this is his 3rd consecutive 50. Every innings he has played here in the West Indies, he has scored a 50. And today he went on to make 82 good runs with 10 boundaries. He was the highest scorer. After that, Ross Taylor came in. And once Tom Latham was gone with the score on 146, West Indies really got a stranglehold on this New Zealanders, as the person who actually started it off was Suleiman Ben. Suleiman Ben, the left-arm spinner, his arm ball is something which is pretty good, and that's what which did Brendan McCullum. Brendan McCullum was done in by an arm ball. He was gone. LBW bowled Ben for 4. That was the first wicket to go. After that, Jerome Taylor took over and started picking up wickets. Jimmy Neesham, of whom much was expected, and he definitely has a chance in the second innings because he's the one who has actually scored 2 centuries on his debut in consecutive matches. And if he actually there was a record in the waiting, but that is something he still has an opportunity in the second innings. As you know, the former Indian player Mohammad Azharuddin is the only, and former Indian player and captain Mohammad Azharuddin is the only player who on his Test debut has scored 3 centuries on the trot. Now Jimmy Neesham still has an opportunity in the second innings, so that was what I was talking about. Jimmy Neesham today couldn't do much as he was gone for 15, and he was caught by Gale of the bowling of Taylor for 15 with 2 fours, and Jerome Taylor was looking pretty menacing at that stage. He was moving the ball, and he was giving a lot of headaches to the batsman. After that, Watling poked at a delivery from Taylor. He was gone for a duck. He saw the edge into the slips to Gale for a duck, and that made the score 199 for 7. And suddenly New Zealand were really crumbling pretty quickly. And after that, Tim Southee was sent back to the pavilion by Ben, as he was LBW for 10 with 1 boundary, and Mark Craig was gone for 4 to the bowling of Gabriel. And the person who was there at the crease was Taylor. Now Taylor was still there at the crease. He was watching all this happen in front of him, but well, he couldn't help it, as finally he saw Trent bowl 2, gone LBW bowl Ben for 1, as Ben was extracting a lot of turn and bounce on this Port of Spain Trinidad pitch. And I thought New Zealand definitely frittered the advantage they had of winning the toss here with some superb bowling from the West Indian bowlers. And Ross Taylor found himself not out on 45 with 7 boundaries. And New Zealand, from a position of strength at one particular stage, when they were 146 for 2, collapsed to 221 all out. So splendid stuff by the West Indian bowlers. Let's look at the bowling figures. Jerome Taylor, as I said, bowled particularly well. 17 overs, 5 maidens, 34 runs and 4 wickets to his name. Kmart Rose, 17 overs, 1 maiden, 1 for 61, bowled with lots of pace and venom. Gabriel did his bit, 12 overs, 2 maidens, 243, and then Suleiman Ben chipping in with 3 wickets with his left arm spin. 28.4 overs, 6 maidens, 73 runs and 3 wickets. Now, as far as West Indies were concerned, West Indies just got a few overs to play. In fact, 7 overs were bowled, and well, Trent Boult got a delivery. What a delivery from Trent Boult, which was bowled on the off stump. It held its line. Gale was a bit lazy. I think he didn't actually, I mean, Gale is such a player who doesn't normally move his feet, but the pace is what which did Gale, I suppose, because Gale was not pretty quick on the shot, and there was absolutely no foot movement, and he saw his off stump being uprooted with the ball actually holding its line, and Chris Gale was gone bowled for 1. So that was an early breakthrough for New Zealand, and West Indies lost the wicket of Gale. After that, finally, when stumps were drawn on the first day of the second test match here at the Port of Spain, Trinidad and Tobago, Craig Brathwaite was not out on 5, and Suleiman Ben, the night watchman, played 8 deliveries without scoring any runs, and finally West Indies ended with 6 for 1 at close of play. Now, as far as the bowling was concerned, Trent bowled 4 overs, 2 maidens, 1 for 4. What a delivery he produced to get rid of Chris Gale. A big wicket there. Tim Southee, 3 overs, 1 maiden, none for 2. Now, well, just shifting away from here, these were 2 matches that happened, but let me also talk about something which is coming up tomorrow. Tomorrow, India, who is already 1-0 up in this 3-match one-day international series against Bangladesh, are taking on Bangladesh in the second one-day international at the Dhaka cricket ground. And yes, your host Ram will always be there. I will definitely be talking about the match, probably giving you a cricket update. Probably I wouldn't be having much time, but if the match gets over between India and Bangladesh pretty quickly, then definitely you will see me in full colors here dwelling on the game. Well, dear fans and subscribers, I hope you all liked my cricket broadcast here on the Cricket Happening Show today. Thanks for your company as always. Thanks for your wonderful contributions, tremendous support to the Cricket Happening Show. Just keep it going. Your host Ram is always there to regale you, dear friends and subscribers of Cricket Happenings. Until I see you tomorrow, it is a big goodbye from your host Ram. Thank you.